Hi, this is Jim Hewling, and welcome to Execution Insight. Almost 2 decades ago, I was given a moment most people never get, a moment of absolute clarity about my life and about what really matters. I'd like to tell you about that today. It was a Sunday evening, sitting in one of my favorite restaurants with my wife, Donna, and my daughter, Sarah, and we were enjoying a really great meal. We were also having a wonderful conversation. I remember that we were laughing and we were telling stories and we were enjoying good food and good company. In fact, in that moment, I can honestly say my family was well and my work was meaningful and filled with purpose, and my health was strong. In fact, I didn't know it that night, but I was actually about to be given a great gift. Because 3 hours later, I was lying in the back of an ambulance with no heartbeat registering on the monitor. Can you imagine? As it turns out, a severe food poisoning reaction had caused my fever to spike and my heart to stop. And when I regained consciousness, I remember lying in the ambulance, but looking out through the glass doors at the back of it. And I could see Donna and Sarah following closely behind as we sped toward the nearest hospital. In fact, I remember in that moment the driver saying to the other emergency technician in the ambulance, "I don't think he's going to make it." And with everything in me, I believed that those were my final moments on earth. And I want to say that it felt in every sense like a dress rehearsal for death. Because in that moment, as I looked at their faces out the ambulance and I held the image of my son Scott in my heart, I had a realization that really surprised me by how calm I felt. I realized in that moment that I had no deep regrets. Now, I want to be careful as I say this because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I had lived without mistakes. I had made plenty of them. And it doesn't mean I had done everything right. I hadn't. I'd done many things not at my best. And it certainly doesn't mean there weren't moments that I wished I could revisit or words I wish I could take back or even whole seasons of my life when I could have navigated with more wisdom and more kindness. There were plenty of those. What I'm trying to say is something much deeper and for me, much more humbling. I felt in that moment that I had lived aligned with what mattered most. I had loved those people who mattered most in my life, and I'd been present more often than I was absent, and I had invested my energy in work and relationships and causes that were all meaningful to me. In a very real sense, I had pursued the things that made me feel alive. And when I had drifted, and sometimes I did, by some grace, I had always been able to find my way back. So I lay there and I thought, if this moment in this ambulance is truly my last, I'm going to leave this world grateful for every moment of the life I've been allowed to live. Now, obviously, since we're here today, I survived through the help and wonderful care of a lot of people. I was able to recover from that night and went on to have a great life. But the message I have for today is to say that night was really a gift. Not because it made it clear that I wasn't finished, I was grateful for that, but because it let me see clearly and without any illusion the difference between the things that truly mattered and the things that truly didn't. Now, here today, many years later, I'm aware most of us don't get a dress rehearsal for death. We don't get that moment where everything becomes clear and all the noise falls away and there's no more scoreboard. And we're left with only one real question. Did I live a life that mattered? Did I live in a way that honored what I believed most deeply? And did I become the person I had always dreamed of being. You see, that night gave me that clarity. And then by grace, gave me many, many more days to live out all the things that I learned in the back of that ambulance. And that's the message I want to offer today. Don't wait for a moment like that to wake you up. You don't need a crisis. You don't need a fearful diagnosis. You don't need a major loss. The invitation to become fully alive, to live in alignment with all the things that you know and believe matter most, in essence, to become all that we were capable of being, is still unfolding right this minute. You can do it as simply as today. That night didn't teach me how to live perfectly, not at all, but it reminded me to live purposefully while there were still days being given. So my question for all of you is really simple. Do you know what you really want? Do you know what really matters most? And are you living in a way that is aligned to all of those values? So that one day, when it's not a dress rehearsal, you and I can truly look back and say, I lived the life I was born to live. If you're living in that way today, you're in a great place. And if you're not, the most beautiful, powerful, effortless place to begin is right now. I'm Jim Hewling, and I hope this is a good message for today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Execution Insights.